If you're looking to paint the beautiful flowers that are coming out in your garden right now, but you don't know how to start, then you're in the right place, because today I've dug up a special video for you. I'm going to show you how I painted one of the prettiest flowers in our garden, one which can seem challenging to paint and that I've never painted before. Plus, throughout the video I share 10 special techniques with you which can be used for any flower. So come along with me and I'll show you my tips and tricks for painting flowers straight from the garden. You can remove yourself from my piece of paper if you don't mind, and go and sit over there and be a good boy. Okay, now you behave yourself for a minute while oops, there's a spider. I'm using my round nylon Draw Well number 14 brush this morning. Details of Draw Well's brushes are in the description below the video. And I've very lightly sketched out the design I'm going to follow, but I won't necessarily follow it exactly. If you want to get the sketch of this painting once it's finished, then it will be on the website, dianeantone.com. This piece of paper is a £90 watercolour paper, and it's been stretched using craft tape, brown tape, onto this board so that it won't cockle. Because if you use £90 water paper without stretching it, and I don't mean taping it down with washi tape or masking tape, that won't help, but you need to stretch it, and then you can use cheap thin paper for your paintings, especially useful when you're, practicing, or just playing around, enjoying yourself. Anyway, so on here, although it's probably invisible to you, is the sketch. And here I have my paints that I'm going to use today. I've got sap green, permanent rose, and quinacridone purple, just 3 colours. And I have to admit, I've never painted buddleia before, so this is going to be a bit of an experiment. So I'm going to paint it wet on dry. I'm not going to wet on wet. I did practice the other day using wet on wet and it didn't work. I went completely wrong. And I'm perfectly happy to admit that I probably have as many failures as I have successes, if you want to call them that. I just call them a process. It's just a process. So I'm coming in with my quinacridone purple, and I'm just dropping in a wash here and observing how the paint moves on the paper. And it's fairly absorbent, so it's going to go in reasonably easily. And now I'm picking up some permanent rose with a dash of quinacridone purple, and I'm going to paint this one, which I want a bit pinker than that, actually. They are, although they look purple from a distance, buddleia are actually pink. They look purple. I think it's because the green of the leaves, which is the background colour, are make the pink look darker. But the star of the show is the flowers. So although we want leaves as well, obviously, the main thing is the flowers. They are the star of the show. The leaves are just the supporting cast. And if we put some spatter on at some point, then that's going to be the non-speaking role. So, so here we go. And if I go quiet, it's because I'm thinking. Don't do that very often. You may have noticed. I'm one of those people that opens their mouth and all sorts of things come out. You never know. You never know what I'm going to say. I never know what I'm going to say. Okay, so we're going to just drop some darker colour into the undersides of those pink flowers a little bit and let that kind of run. This was my sketch that I did just now. It's just starting to dry, and that's what I'm basing this work on. I always think it's worthwhile doing a sketch, because sometimes the sketch works out to be more pleasing than what comes next. But anyway, we will struggle on, and I'm now going to mix some quinacridone purple with some green to knock it back a bit and make it a bit more obedient. That is to say, less bright. And we'll pop in some stems, varying the colour, so we have some green as well as some shadowy purpley colours. And as you know, my theory is that you should let the paint do the work, let the water do the work. Don't worry too much about controlling what's going on. I'm going to put in some leaves here now. And at the ends of some of the stems, there are a whole bunch of little spriggy things in sort of green with a bit of pink at the end. So we'll just dot those in a bit. And they're at the ends of the big ones as well. So a little bit of greeny, grey, dotty thingies. Pink. So leaves, supporting cast. Yes, let's go with sap green, knocked back a bit. To give us a nice greyish colour. Bit more green, perhaps. I like the technique of, I'm going to shall I turn this round a minute? The technique of taking your paintbrush, which is quite a large one, pressing down to get a point for the leaf, like that. And then just drag the brush very lightly. Ruby, really. There we are. And okay, so I'm going to come in with some more dotty bits at the end here. If you can find an excuse to put dotty bits in your painting, then you will find that it'll lighten the whole thing up and make it more appealing to the eye. Especially when it's dry. It doesn't look terribly much when it's still wet, but and there was another one here in the original painting. So I had a stem coming out and then dotty bits. And don't be afraid to do a stem in pink if you feel like it. And come to that, you could do some pink leaves. Why not? So like that. And we're going to put another dotty bits up here. We're going to do them in purple. And start to show some of, as it begins to dry, you can start to just put some indications of texture into the base colour there. I always get to this point in the painting and I suddenly think, oh my God, is it recording? So I have to check, and it has been known to happen, but it wasn't. Now, it has to be said, less is more. And the last one of these I did when I was practicing, because obviously if you've never painted something before, you aren't going to be happy with the first result. The first one I did, I overworked it to the point of complete insanity. It was just horrible. But sometimes, you know, that's what you have to do. So don't feel bad about that. I recently did a commission, and the nice chap who ordered the painting from me wanted a view of a Mexican harbor, and I painted it. And I overpainted it so badly, it was just awful. So I started again, did it all again, and we were all happy about it in the end. But I had to go to that point of completely overworking it before I could actually do it in a way that I was satisfied with. And there is a definite tendency, we all have it, to do that. And I can feel that right now. I'm thinking to myself, I should probably have stopped a minute ago, but I didn't. But I think I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll come back and see whether it is in need of any further attention. But so far, so not too bad. Okay, so that's more or less dry now, and I think that's coming along quite nicely. And at this point, I would probably suggest it might be a good idea to rub off the pencil lines if you've used a pencil guide. So the ones that are kind of still showing through and haven't been covered by the paint. So you can do that as long as the paint's nice and dry. Now I want to add some butterflies to this, obviously, because it is a butterfly bush. I know a lot of you struggle when you get to this point in a painting and you say, oh, I don't know, should I add the bees and the butterflies or the dragonfly, or should I put some spatter or whatever? Well, the thing is, what you do is, what I've done anyway, I suggest is a good idea, is you get hold of one of the tracings of one of the paintings that you've done from one of the tutorials, and you try it out. Now, this is a hare that I did a while ago. There's a tutorial for this hare on the channel, and I gave him some friends, the butterflies. Now, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I want to put some butterflies here, or maybe I want to put them here. So I just take my tracing and I can try it out. Ignore the bit in the middle, and you can still see what that's going to look like if I put the butterflies in there. And you can see whether those ones are going to be too big or whether they're going to be just right. And then you can either trace them by using carbon paper or going over the back of the painting of the tracing and, you know, doing it like you do, or you can just copy them. And I really like the look of that one there. And so I'm going to put one like that over here. And then over this side, I think I'll probably put that one there, and maybe I'll put another one on its side down there like that. So you're not committed. You can try it out by using the tracing. And that's a really, really good tip. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw them in pencil, and then we'll colour them in with paint in a second. So I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, and I've got lots of lambs out there doing exactly that. Okay, so I popped in some bees, some butterflies and a bee, of course. Of course, there is a little bee there. So I'm just going to quickly do the colour, the dark colour on the bee before I do anything else. I'm just going to mix a dark purpley green colour to do that, because I'm not using black. I'm just using these 3 colours in this painting. So his little head is on the black side, and then his body, we'll do one like that. Okay, so we just let that dry, and don't be afraid of wasting paint. You sometimes need to clean your brush off. Now I'm going to put some pink into this butterfly here, and then I'm going to let serendipity take its have its way with me, so to speak, and I'm just going to put some dark colour around the edges, and we'll see what happens there. And if that doesn't work out, then we won't worry. Okay, number 1, and number 2 we'll just do this one here in purple. I don't know if there are such things as purple butterflies. I don't know. Does it matter? And then a little body This one needs a little body. And when it's dry, I'll put the antennae in. Let's put a green one over here. Now, I really don't know if there is such a thing as a green butterfly. I'm sure there is somewhere. But we'll trim him with purple. So that will darken him down a bit. And we'll see what happens. And it's always interesting to see what happens when you drop one colour into another. You never know. Sometimes it works in the sense of you're happy. Sometimes it doesn't. And then what? You go over it with gouache or something like that if you must, or you just say, oh well. And the thing is, you can't tell until it's done its thing. So, and I think we'll put another one over here in a mixture of pink and lilac, purple rather, so a sort of dulled down version for the front wings. This one's face on, so to speak, and maybe slightly darker for the back. And then let's put a strong colour in for the body. That's just purple mixed with green. Okay. And the one colour I am going to have to bring in from outside is a tiny bit of yellow for the bee. And some quinacridone gold as well. And because it's not quite dry, we can just drag the wings up like that. And then I'm going to cheat and I'm going to pick up my pen to do the antennae and the legs. You could do them with a brush, but that's much harder. There we are, and we'll put give the butterflies their radar. Navigation system. Perhaps a tiny indication of legs, but I don't think butterflies' legs look particularly attractive, so we don't need to do too much of that. You might have noticed I've got a mark down here, which is some ink. I think I got it on there from the other day when I was using, well, yesterday when I was using ink, and I couldn't get it off. It wouldn't wash off, so I left it there. But if you must get rid of it, use some white gouache to cover it up. A few layers of this would do the trick. Or I think even better, and I haven't got any yet, I must get some, the permanent ink, the white, is it Dr. something or other? I'll get some of that. And then that will cover that up. But that's good enough for me. I'm just going to put a little bit of spatter on these buddleia flowers. The easy way of giving them some texture. Maybe pop a little bit up in the sky. And then the last thing I might do to this before we call it completely done would be just perhaps, and I say that advisedly, perhaps a little bit more shadow on one side of each leaf. It's not essential, and don't go too far. And then before this spatter dries completely, you can just fiddle with it a little bit to make it relax. And there we are, I'll call that done. So thanks very much for being with me today while we painted this lovely buddleia. You'll find the 10 tips and techniques I used listed in the chapters in the description below. And if you find any of them helpful when you paint your own garden, please share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're a member of one of our Facebook groups, you can share your painting over there as well. So I'll let you go now, have fun with your flowers, and I'll see you again soon. Bye everyone, bye bye.